Hello, everybody, and welcome to another Stanley Kubrik commentary. This time we're doing Paths of Glory, all the way back in 1957. Even though it wasn't his first movie, this was, for all intents and purposes, the movie that started his career, since this was the movie that basically was his first big smash hit at the box office and loved by critics everywhere. Basically, in fact, when this movie came out, it was pretty much lauded as one of the... Okay, you know how... whenever a movie comes out, not a lot of people always immediately notice how important it is. But this was one of those rare movies where people immediately noticed how it was one of the best anti-war movies ever made. Right, immediately, right there.
Question.
Kind of like how Mad Max Fury. So basically, this is one of those cases that Wibbs doesn't like how people immediately start praising it the hell out of it. They have to wait at least a little bit before. But go ahead, Joe. What is it?
What year was this film released?
1957.
Oh, okay. Yep, anti-war film. This definitely matches up.
So this film is 60 years old.
Basically, yeah. If I recall correctly, this was released around that time where, let's just say there was a lot of anti-war protest, Cold War stuff. So, yeah, there were a lot of hippies, as people would call them, against the war. And it seems that Stanley Kubrik really spoke out to everyone, though, with this film. See, this was during the time where, the Cold War was as unnecessary as you could get. So, of course, a lot of people didn't like that. So it seems that Mr. Kubrik here decided to really make it an art form and actually make a piece that, well, probably did a better job convincing people than the people who were, shall we say, a bit too try-hard with trying to stop the war.
A couple years later, he would even satirize it with Dr. Strangelove.
So I can definitely see how this would get him his big break.
Yeah, let's get going. Start before what logo is it?
The Criterion logo.
That one. Okay. Pedro, go ahead and do the countdown.
We're watching the Blu-ray copy, so watch it with us. Why don't you? Okay, so 3, 2, 1, click. All right.
It's probably the only Kubrick movie that I haven't watched at all. I mean, I've seen bits and pieces of Ice White Shot, but this one, nothing at all. I only know about part of a cast.
You know,
the good old MGM logo.
Well, they changed it a little bit recently.
Oh no, Visual Lion, Peter's not happy, whatever.
Ironically enough, I think Stanley Kubrick would have gotten well along with the likes of, well, ironic as it is, Dr. Seuss, who kind of liked to satirize war himself. Yeah, that's right. The kid-friendly bookmaker Dr. Seuss himself made quite a bit of war propaganda art here and there.
Yeah.
Well, if there's one thing this is definitely not is propaganda, considering it's actually very anti-warish.
Well, you know what I mean.
There can be anti-war propaganda. It depends. I mean, it only matters. The subject doesn't matter. It matters the way it's conveyed, Pedro. So propaganda can be both ways.
By the way, Dibs, you're probably wondering why Kubrick made this, and after that, and long after this, made Full Metal Jacket. It's interesting because one of his friends actually asked, "Okay, I want to make a movie that depicts war in a realistic way," and then one of his friends actually literally told him, "But Stanley, you already made Paths of Glory." No. That's an anti-war movie. I want to make a movie that depicts how war actually is.
And since the war in Vietnam was happening those years, yeah.
We begin in France, 1916. Wow, the titles here are almost as big as the ones in Civil War.
World War I, I guess?
Yes.
So is this done in the format of documentary, or is this just our intro opening?
No. It's a proper story. It's just that right now they're just giving context.
You know, it's interesting. We're watching this now, and as of the day we're recording this, Kirk Douglas is still alive.
Yeah.
He's 100 now.
Oh, him. General Brulard. Let's just say this character is quite the interesting guy.
So that's Tony Montana's dad from the looks of it.
So is this nonfiction, or are we going to go fictional here?
I think a lot of it is fictional. I do think it's inspired by real events, but obviously most of it is Kubrick's writing.
But again, World War One was a really strange event because all those strange things happened in it.
Oh god, World War One, or as I like to call it, the series of people just being pride stubborn idiots. Like
There you
seriously.
go. Oh, and then we're about to establish the primary conflict.
Hmm.
Hmm.
So what does he want?
Suicide
Basically-
mission to take back a place.
Exactly.
Germans, I guess.
Very good, Teo. Have a cookie.
Yeah.
But I have more medals than you. See?
So it's entirely his choice, but we're gonna make it break on your shoulders anyway.
Yeah.
Classic military stuff.
Let me guess. If he refuses, then they'll kill his wife or something.
It's not even just that, Dibs. Trust me. It's actually. Let's just say that. Let's just say this particular character, General Brulard, is going to probably surprise you with how far he'll go with things.
These characters American?
Yes.
Okay. I thought for a second there, I thought they were just trying to. I thought they were French characters, but somehow have American accents.
What an asshole.
Oh, trust me, Teo. You don't even know the half of it.
So which one's Kirk Douglas?
No, not yet.
Not yet.
We haven't met Kurt Douglas yet.
Kirk Douglas was actually very young in those days. With
Yeah, he was
Remember,
probably like.
he's 100 now, but
Yeah.
he's still. So I can
And
also-
here we are at the anthill. So,
basically,
Jova, since you're actually from there, why don't you talk to us about the anthill?
The anthill.
Well, the anthill was a real place, wasn't it? I think
yeah,
at least.
yeah. But is this taking place? But isn't this in a foreign country?
Let me check. I mean,
yeah, I
they're all
guess it's
American
in
actors.
France.
They're all American actors, so I kind of assume.
No, they talked about the France front.
Ah,
Yeah,
okay then.
And if this is World War One, well, it wouldn't
Yeah.
make sense for there to be trenches
Yeah,
in America.
for the people who doesn't know, in World War One, people mainly fought in trenches, basically gigantic holes digged in the ground, and it was literally a game of peekaboo.
Yeah.
The first two picked it right up, got shot, the other won.
I should,
That was basically it.
yeah, I should probably mention there's sort of a hidden reason why people don't bring up World War One as so much as World War Two. See, okay, obviously World War Two was the bigger war, but see, people speak more honorably about World War Two for the reason that, Well, as I said before, World War I was just a series of dumb decision after dumb decision.
Not just that, Jova. It was a gigantic. It was a literal excuse for all country to test their new war gadgets because that face it, that was pretty much it. Back in the day, technology was progressing really forward, especially in the war department, the weapon department. And let's just say that a lot of country wanted an excuse to test on something or someone.
Hey,
So when some bloke decided to shot in the head the Austrian king during a ceremony, everyone got that excuse.
hey, Tio, the French sure learned that the hard way, though. Like, seriously, they went onto the field wearing brightly colored uniform. Oh. War is bad.
There you go. Some, discipline.
Well, you're an asshole.
Well, I guess hurt.
Well, to be fair, to be fair, you do need sound of mind soldiers on your team.
True.
Yeah, but you have to understand also that back in the day, dweebs, generals and commanders of regiments in the trenches were real asshole, really pushing people to die even when the situation was clearly desperate against them. In a more of few occasions.
And here's our main character, played by Kirk Douglas.
So are we on like the French side, the German side? Like
the French side, probably.
The French, he said he did say ready to kill some Germans.
Oh, perfect.
This was back. This was back when everybody thought the Germans were every single German was evil.
Well, it's sad because the Germans actually did. Well, okay, maybe not all the Germans, but Germany kind of did become the actual bad guy in the.
Well, later on, Jova. Back in the day, we just made a stupid decision on the line with the Austrian Empire because we wanted a piece of Poland even back in the day.
Yeah, but yeah, this is a good tangent.
What's with obsession with countries in Poland? I will never understand.
Yeah, oh yeah, this is actually a good tangent. See, the French were kind of the slowest people to get the hint that you had to evolve with the times because, well, at first in World War I, their tactic was to do what they'd always done. March into the field with a long marching band, wearing brightly colored uniforms, waving their giant flags, and, swords. Yes, they were still using swords at the start of World War I. And they got mowed down for that.
So yeah, as you can see, General Brulard is definitely trying to make sure he was assigned the intel, and he wants to make sure he doesn't fuck up. So as you can see, he's being very strict with everybody.
He's toughening, yeah. There you go. That was pretty much the method. We were trying to spy in the enemy trenches and see if there was an advantage to take.
And look at that. Hey, Edweb, since you saw Full Metal Jacket, I don't have to tell you that Kubrick is not afraid to show you the horrible consequences of war.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, true.
So I guess this confirms that this was after the point where France got the hint that they had to,
Well, in 1916, it was pretty much in the middle of the war, so yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone learned how to work in the game. 2 trenches, an entire minefield in the middle. Good luck.
And this is mainly why, this is of course the big reason why we talk more about World War II, because by World War II, with the more cynical view, it was more a sense of actual honor and actually trying to make things right as opposed to just trying to grab land. Well,
it also has to do with the fact.
It
also has to do with the fact that at this point, there's nobody else alive that has actually been for World War I at this point. So obviously, it's kind of hard to find a perspective of someone who actually went through it.
Surprisingly enough, amongst all its bad misdeed that he did in a lot of disease, Ubisoft actually managed to make a game based on actual documents and witnesses of survivors or descendants of people of World War I.
Yeah.
Anyway,
a little piece of trivia. A young Martin Scorsese saw this movie back when it first came out, and this was actually one of the movies that inspired him to become a filmmaker himself.
Huh. Oh, there you go. Yeah. Yeah, that's what I was talking about. The generals and higher ups didn't really care about the lower soldiers as long as it was, as Jova mentioned, taking the enemy land at all costs. So a lot of people got wasted, and a lot more people deserted because of this.
As for
And
Kirk
I
Douglas's
don't blame
character,
them.
sorry.
Go ahead.
As for Kirk Douglas's character here, he's kind of a patriotic idealist who would rather not only try to save the Lotus Soldiers, but also he kind of wishes he's kind of a pacifist of sorts. So he really wishes Germans and French could get along.
Can't we all just get along?
Well, Reeves, retroactively, everyone thought that this line of thought would have worked even better if everyone just stopped for a second and started talking.
Well, that was the deal with the whole Christmas of 1914 thing between England and the Germans. They played football together on Christmas.
Yeah, that event, yeah.
Aww.
They made even a movie about that, Je Noël.
Made a song about it even.
Again, that just really goes to show how messed up World War I was. I mean, yeah, World War II was obviously the bigger waster, but god dang, did World War I just really make ya want to slap sense into people back then?
So, question, Pedro.
Mm-hmm.
I forgot. Was this movie made before or after Spartacus?
Before it was actually after being directed by Kubrick in this movie that Kirk Douglas obviously became quite the Kubrick fan himself, and he actually hired him to direct his Spartacus, which was the movie he made after this.
So,
Okay.
knowing Kubrick and how he can be eccentric, I must ask, are we going to spend the entire movie in the trenches?
No. Don't worry. We'll get. Let's just say most of the movie will focus on a specific thing. In fact, here's one thing you're gonna like, Joe. But there's going to be a trial at some point.
Trial that got German's attention.
I think I know where this is going.
So, a mustachioed guy with dirt on his face, and he's drunk.
Yeah, that's another thing about trenches.
Actually, that's camo for the night troops, so in order to not be spotted by the flashlights.
Yeah. And the thing about trenches is, yeah, you had to make use of camouflage. Here's the
And
problem.
also, well, not counting the fact that hygiene conditions were absolutely terrible in those things.
Hygiene. You were lucky if you got hygiene. What was
I
worse
mean,
was the
if
fact that those
the
places...
chemical weapons didn't kill you, probably some diseases would.
Oh, and that's if the rats didn't disease ya.
Yeah. Or martini.
You didn't ask him?
No historical name drop.
Oh, seriously? You live together and you
Believe it or not, Dwibs, that's kind of actually how dumb World War I could be.
and you're supposed to you're supposed to look out for each other, especially during this time of war, and you don't even ask his name.
One thing that I really like, by the way, about this movie is that much like, in fact, I wouldn't be surprised if George Lucas took this as inspiration when he wrote the first Star Wars movie. One thing that we'll actually watch a lot, we watch a lot of these lowly soldiers actually make small talk, and it does a really good job in really bringing us into the mindset of what these people are going through.
Also, I should probably note, I think it was actually a rather good decision for him to pick World War I of all wars. Yeah, basically World War I... Hold on, let me finish.
Well, at this point, World War II was only still like 10 years old at this point, so it was a bit too soon.
Well, yeah. Okay. Let me reword that. This works a lot better timelessly because, the way that the characters are incredibly exaggerated and stuff actually, again, fits in with World War I. Because, like me and Tio have said, World War I was pretty much the war of idiots.
All right, there you go.
Well, where
This
exactly
is probably
was
just a scouting mission to see.
Hold on. There's
how it
a
is.
question.
Go ahead,
What is it,
Libs.
I wonder where this was filmed. Did they film it at some soundstage at MGM?
No. Similar to Full Metal Jacket, Kubrick actually picked a specific location that would be good for it.
I guess it was in England.
Let me check.
Or
Yeah.
was it later? Or was it later on? Kubrick decided I'm going to make more of my movies in England now.
There you go.
I think at this point he was still in America. Let me check.
Stanley
I'll
Kubrick,
check.
like Tim Burton, seems to have a
Actually,
fascinating...
it was in Germany.
Oh, there you go then.
Stanley Kubrick, like Tim Burton, seems to have a fascination with England.
So Wild West can't get more accurate than that.
Oh, and apparently someone named Timothy Carey got fired during the production.
And hey, just like Tim Burton, black guys tend to get the short end in Stanley Kubrick stick films. I can't, of course.
So yeah, this is obviously one of the more sucky things about especially World War One. Suicide missions. These soldiers know they're going to die, but at the same time, it's just one of those things. Like Theo said earlier, generals don't care about the soldiers, and they're perfectly willing to sacrifice some of them for the quote unquote greater good.
5 meters
Again,
more.
that's a real...
There's a character called Private Maurice Ferrell who's played by Timothy Carey, but for some reason he got fired. So
Wait, Timothy Carey? You mean like
the guy playing a guy named Private Maurice Ferrell, but he got fired.
Don't worry, you'll see. Hold on.
But yeah, that's another ironic thing. It's like
these three are going to be basically aside from Kirk Douglas, they will be kind of our main characters, kind of. You'll see what I mean eventually.
Ooh, plane crash back when planes were... Wait, is that the Red Barons?
No. I mean, he may have the same... It has the German logo, and it's probably just a normal, random German plane.
But yeah, an ironic thing is like, well, again, while World War II took more lives, surprisingly there weren't as many.
Actually, no, I don't know, Joe. Well, yeah, no, he probably took more lives, but as described by many, the big shit.
Whoa.
Flares, yeah. Basically, yeah, the best thing to do, camouflage yourself as corpses.
But why did they just decide to shoot the corpses to make sure that you're dead?
It actually happened, Reeves. But yeah, you don't... I mean, those situations, that's your best option.
Anyway, you were saying, Tio?
No, but I get what you mean, Jova. Even though technically we were more victims in the other war, this one, we counted more because we were more pointless due to stuff like this one.
Yeah. In World War II, there really weren't that many suicide missions except for, obviously, the kamikaze. But that was only with certain countries. By World War II, a lot of countries...
It was more... With World War II, it was more like victims among the civilians from one way or the other.
Yeah.
Oh, look at that. Whee!
Uh-oh.
Bang.
This is exactly the same kind of really gritty directing that later he would bring also to Full Metal Jacket, where we really see right there on the field what the soldiers are doing.
Yeah. Oh shit.
Ew.
Yeah, not pretty.
So yeah,
Wasn't
one
this
of
the
the
film
things... Oh, so go ahead, Peeps.
Was this the film where Kubrick had a bit of a spat with a cinematographer?
No. That was Spartacus. Well, actually, not Spartacus. No, sorry, that's Kirk. That was the thing with the thing. I'm thinking of something else. That was before this movie, Dwibs. The Killing.
Okay. Hey, that's what Kubrick says to his. That's what Kubrick said to his cinematographer.
Basically, okay, hold on. That's important.
Fourth, again, your stupid tone, because I don't like it.
Yeah.
Sure you would. Oh, ho, ho, ho. The history books have plenty to say about you lot. Yeah, that was another thing about World War One. Actually, corrupt officials.
Corruption.
You know, all things considered, I know that the United States were kind of hard-headed about not wanting to get into World War One, but seeing how even the quote-unquote good side had its fair share of, well, crooked folks like these, I can't really blame them for holding out until the Lusitania incident. Although, to be honest, being neutral is often considered the best option.
Well, tell that to Belgium in World War II.
Yeah, okay. Until World War II. Actually, yeah, until then.
They didn't know.
Poor Belgium.
Son.
Well, that basically with heavy rains with the weather, fighting was much more difficult. So it would have meant that most likely one or both the sides would have taken a break.
So ironically, bad weather was considered good luck in the trenches.
Yeah.
Whereas when it's all sunny, well, that's when you can consider things to get hot in more than one way. Hey, I remember when bayonets were still in use. That was also a stupid thing to keep around in World War One.
That reminds me.
Yes, Reeves.
Sorry, I accidentally pressed the button. That reminds me of an audio thing I watched from Horrible Histories, where they have the guy narrating it has a very weird way of saying bayonets. He said bayonet.
Accent.
Must be his accent. Yeah, thing about Britain, Joe. We all have different kinds of accents around these parts. I don't know. I'd rather be if I had to die in war, I'd rather be blown up.
It would be instantaneous.
Yeah, it'd be quick or shot in the head.
Well, that depends, Dweebs, because a lot of times when people stepped on a mine, it could happen where you just lost their limbs, and they were just left there to die.
So now we're in
the trenches again.
Yeah, still watching the enemy front.
Yeah, that mountain.
Problem is, they're not doing anything.
It looked like a miniature of an Aztec city.
Did
Kubrick ever make a film about Aztecs?
No. Napoleon won, but eventually his funding got cut because of Waterloo, even though Waterloo was a piece of crap.
Waterloo? Was that a film?
Basically, he was making a Napoleon movie because it was a big passion he was very passionate about. And fortunately, Waterloo came out, and Waterloo was also a movie about Napoleon, and it kind of flopped, so the company funding the movie kind of pulled out.
Right.
What a shame.
Was it this Waterloo you were referring to?
Yes. This is a particular shot that I really like. Kirk Douglas going for all the soldiers, all of them scared shitless.
Believe it or not, Dweebs, this was pretty much daily life in the trenches. If you weren't busy
And
trying to figure
I know. Don't worry, Jova. I too had history lessons.
Mhm. Wow.
In my intervening, but do I sound okay?
Hello
Darkstar
there.
work on committing on something.
Oh, sorry.
That was Darkstar for all of you.
He's just checking the time.
Although it's fun, it's a bit funny about the date of this movie because 2 years later in my country, a guy will make a movie similar to this, although with a much more comedic tone, set still in World War I, but on the Italian front in the Alps.
Ooh, how'd it go?
It was fine because it starred big people and was involving big people.
So it was a satire?
An entire tracking shot of nothing being said because that's all
Yeah.
you need.
Yeah.
That's what
seriously.
Kubrick is master for. Anyways,
Yeah.
this one drove up. It's simply called The Great War.
Did it get translated into English?
I think so.
Oh, it's
Did they
a
have
daily
English
Oh, there you
life.
go. That's the countdown for the charge.
So English audio or English subtitles?
I don't know.
Mm.
There we go. And there you go. That's what pretty much it. I mean, masses of soldiers running towards the next trenches and counting only on the number factor.
Yep.
Strength in
Because-
numbers.
Well, yeah, basically, it lives regardless. So the toys that were invented for weapons in World War I were mostly on the offensive. And in terms of defensive equipment, everyone was pretty much at the same level.
Think about it like a game of what's it good at? Oh yeah.
You know,
Think
Well,
about
Basically, this, as you can see, this is kind of Full Metal Jacket beta.
you know what the scene actually does with me.
What?
It really disappoints me that that we did not get a tracking shot of Tom Cruise running during Eyes Wide Shut.
Wait, he
Come
runs
on,
during that movie?
tracking shots, Tom Cruise running, that would have been perfect.
Wait, he runs
True.
during he runs during
Well,
that movie?
no, he doesn't. But well, to be fair, again, that was before the meme was a thing.
Also, did he need it to run in that movie? I don't think so.
Well, there was one point in the movie where we could have had him run, but yeah, aside from that, no.
But yeah, basically, dude, think about it like a game of dodgeball. Imagine that basically each side gets a turn to try and advance towards the other side, and if you get
Except
hit
the
with a
dodgeballs are bombs.
yeah, pretty much. And if you get hit with a dodgeball, you're out. Think about it like that, but yeah, with weapon artillery.
And also, the middle ground was filled with any traps that you can imagine. You know, barbed wires, mines, and everything. You didn't knew if the next step you took was the last one or not.
Well, I did watch a Doctor Who episode where most of it took place during World War One.
I forgot which one was it. I may have watched it too.
The War Games.
Surprised there's
I
not several
think
that
so.
take place during
It was
the
the
World
second
Wars.
Doctor's. It was the second Doctor's last episode.
Well, Drew, there was one of the Claston episodes, actually a two-parter, but
Holy
before, too.
shit.
Yeah. Again, Kubrick is not afraid of showing stuff.
Well, one of his mottos was, if it exists, it can be filmed.
Yeah.
Bang.
And yeah, in case of fortified positions like that for air, they have also artillery in order to... oh, jeez.
I can imagine a scene like this would have really eaten up a large chunk of this film's budget.
Yep.
And there we go. He was trying to talk to you, you know.
Yeah, how dare they? Ugh.
So what, is he ordering him to shoot on his own men?
Yeah,
Yes.
let's just say encourage them to move forward.
Let's just say this general is not. As you, I didn't say it earlier because I didn't want to spoil it, but as you can probably guess now, this general is our villain. Well, technically, the closest thing to a villain.
You know, that's actually a neat thing, showing that, ironically, the villain isn't anyone on the enemy side. In fact, we don't even really see the enemy side that much. It's literally within your own ranks.
Let me guess, does the film end with the soldiers saying we're tired of this shit and kill the guy?
No, Dwebs. The ending is actually a really powerful ending that still is talked about a lot, but we'll see. Anyway, yeah, as you can see, the General Brulard is a fucking piece of shit who won't hesitate on killing his own men just to make himself look good, just to make sure he doesn't look bad to his superiors.
You know, the sad thing is that in most cases you could call this a Flanderization and an exaggeration, but no, again, this is pretty much kind of an accurate representation of just how
What's
insane.
his name? General
Brulard,
played by Adolphe Menjou.
His name is Adolf. I guess that's fitting.
The villain's
Ironic,
name.
considering that Hitler was actually a message carrier during World War I.
Wow. Yeah. In fact, Hitler was also on the trenches too during World War I.
Jeez.
Right. Well, does we have a shot of Kirk Douglas running?
So you can get Kirk Douglas to run, but not Tom Cruise. Oh.
Jesus.
Oh boy. I know we kind of got beat there, but let's give it another try.
Well, it's not like they can't. Well, it's kind of their
Yeah.
job.
Oh, sorry,
Jesus.
dead guy.
I guess that counts as an answer.
Now imagine this, but repeated yearly. So the French are retreating.
He's almost literally popping his own vein.
Well, Kirk Douglas is in trouble.
So the French are pulling back. Oh boy.
So there you go. Basically, he's going to sentence him for execution for refusing to obey his orders.
Even though it kind of made, saved lives.
All right, here's actually one of the more iconic scenes of the movie.
They should have died honorably, you man. The French arguing about cowardice. Oh my.
Hey, it's not even played for laughs, Jova, that's the thing.
Yeah.
Oh, never mind. Yeah, that's right. Brulard is this guy. I haven't watched this movie in years. I really have to get around to watching it more.
So literally the argument isn't about who lived or died, it's literally about you should have followed orders. Screw
Yeah.
the consequences.
Yeah, just shoot the whole regiment while you're at it.
I
Yeah.
know, right? You're literally discussing shooting your own men.
I can think of others, but whatever.
Yeah.
Hey, we keep doing this at this point, we'll do our enemies' jobs for us and we'll have no one left.
So basically, they're going to pick 3 people from each regiment to be court-martialed and executed.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
As it, to
Kirk-
set an example.
And Kirk Douglas is actually the only one who's treating these soldiers as people.
Yep.
My butt chin thanks you. Jeez.
1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Yeah, that boot clacking trick, I've been trying to do that with proper shoes that work with that, and I can never really get it to click properly.
So yeah, Joe, as you already guessed before, this means we're going to have a war trial.
Oh boy,
Oh,
those are nasty business. You know,
So
I'm
ma-
actually surprised this attorney hasn't tried something like that yet.
If this film were made in color, probably
Isn't there like a military character in one of investigation games?
Yes, there is, but they don't have a war trial.
if this film were made in color, I can imagine. If this film were made in color, I can probably imagine, someone wearing a blue suit.
Was that the uniform of the French in War I? I forgot. I mean, the main gimmick that in World War I was clearly that every side had a uniform of a specific color just for that purpose, in order to distinguish themselves.
That's you're the only one here not being sensible.
Yes, I want you to be sensible about this. I want you to go down easily so I may execute you and make an example out of you.
This guy.
Jesus.
Our heroes?
Oh, well, remember, Joe, he didn't support him in his decisions, even though he's his superior. So yeah, obviously, basically,
yeah.
like I said, that guy's a fucking evil piece of shit who only thinks of his reputation.
And again, they're supposedly the good guys of the war. Supposedly, I say.
So, is there any logic into what people they have to pick, or they just pick at random?
Well, well, I don't know. I guess so.
They just pick one person from each regiment, apparently.
I guess they just pick at random. I mean, I don't think there's any particular. Oh.
Huh, blackmail.
True.
Really sucks when the tables turn on you, don't they?
There you go, Dibs. There's
it.
There's your choosing criteria.
So that guy was picked because he was blackmailed, the one to the far right. The one in the middle was pure by chance and...
So I wonder when the bit's coming up where the guy who was fired, the guy who was fired from the film got replaced by a body double. I wonder when that's coming up.
Wait, who got fired?
Hold on,
someone
let me check.
Seems to happen a lot with Kubrick films. There's always one bit of a Kubrick production that does kind of go a bit skew. If someone gets fired, the production overruns. There's arguments on sets in one case.
The title of the book was in
Surprised there wasn't a thing that went wrong where the whole set blew up. Because again, it's like I said, something always seems to go wrong in these films. It's like Kubrick was cursed. Well, then again, he wasn't a perfectionist.
Well, yeah. The thing about I mean, Kubrick, of course, was a very perfectionist. So obviously, when a specific actor was not being good enough or harming the production in some way, he was fired on the spot. Like it's, again, just to bring back to that Lucy Ballard thing, the cinematographer that you were talking about. Like he specifically said, and I quote, "Lucian, why didn't you put the camera where I asked you to? Why are you putting it further?" And he's been at some stupid bullshit. Oh, this is basically the same thing. I just switched the lens, which of course is bull crap. It's a different shot. So Kubrick realized that he was, bullying past him. So he literally said, and I quote, "Put the camera where I told you, with the lens that I asked for, or leave the set and don't come back."
Put that thing back where it came from, or so help me!
No, actually, he said it really calmly, according to the guy who told it in the documentary.
Well, yeah.
And then they had this eye stare, and then okay, fine.
Of course, Kubrick having eyes there.
All right, so here's the court martial.
Yeah.
As you can imagine, it's more like a farce than anything, but yeah.
Oh, it's just like an Ace Attorney trial.
No, it's more of a farce than an Ace Attorney trial. Again, war trials are one thing. War trials during World War I were literally trying to play favorites. In fact, I don't think you even really got a lawyer during these.
Why not just go the whole hog and have him, and as soon as you say guilty, you shoot him.
Oh, but we're trying to not be
it was kind of like adding insult to injury.
Yeah.
Yeah, every time you go like this, you're guilty.
No, man, son, that's pretty much the land filled with traps and everything in between the two trenches. A Frenchman retreating? This is unheard of.
All right. That's enough jabs at the French people.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I love how deadpan this guy sounds.
Yeah, I get that's the intention.
Yeah, sure. And then we went out and got some burgers.
All right. Next witness.
All right. Discount Christopher Lloyd.
Could you imagine if World War One had those time traveling DeLoreans? Be over in days.
Maybe. Okay, now you're just taunting him.
Yeah.
Yes, never mind the fact that you already tried to go forward. We're gonna judge the fact that you didn't go far enough.
Well, crap.
So you didn't urge them towards their deaths. I see.
Did he say? Did he? Sorry, I had to take my headset off. Did he just say objection?
Yes, he did.
Yes.
Yeah.
But even if Phoenix Wright were here, this trial wouldn't have gone that differently.
Well, if it were Phoenix, he would have actually have worded the questions just right so we could get the right info out of them.
Can't believe it. Now we're at the point where we're tying in Stanley Kubrik to Ace Attorney.
Bloodiest battles of the war. You ain't seen nothing yet, chaps.
Yikes.
Well, shoot. So this is effectively just a trial.
Oh, that's kind of hard.
Warrant.
That's kind of hard since they're all dead.
So this is pretty much just a trial trying to sign the death warrant at this rate.
Yeah, I can imagine now. Kirk Douglas just gets so adamant that he actually does get a dead person. He just drags his corpse in and then starts doing them weird puppet things, moving his mouth like.
Sure, I did. See it.
So let's see. Well, okay. So let's see. At this rate, Phoenix's ancestor during World War I time.
Well, remember, Jova. There was already the greatest attorney, which was in the end of the 80s of the 19th century. So
yeah, that's what I'm trying to think
he probably went back to Japan at this point. And during World War I, Japan was which were German colonies.
Ironic.
Because they were allied with the United States.
Ironic. Japan and Italy were actually our allies during World War I.
Don't remind me, Jova. Jeez, my country is a joke.
Wow, this is just going swimmingly for the side that wants to kill.
Unfortunately, like Jova said earlier, war trials back in these days were always pretty unfair.
I guess it speaks. Truly.
Yes, out of all the many deaths and everything that you guys have suffered, this is the worst stain of all.
Just wait till you guys hear about the Battle of the Somme.
At this point, the prosecutor is just massaging his own ego.
Yeah.
There you go. You even did the finger point and everything. Drops the mic. Boom.
Let me guess. He says one word, and they tell him to sit down. Sit down.
Denied. Yeah, still can't.
Yeah.
He might have
Still
something.
can't get that.
He might have something going, guys. He's doing the classy lawyer walk, where he puts his hands in his pockets and walks smoothly.
So there you go. Colonel Dax is actually afraid of being a human right now.
Did boom mics exist during this point?
I think so. Well, the thing is, remember, a building like this would have this kind of echo, so I'm pretty sure this is going exactly as Kubrick wants.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, but it is kind of hard to understand what he's saying at some points.
Have some fucking common sense.
Oh, crap.
Yeah, that guy there talking now, he looks like the main villain of Moonraker. I must see, Mr. Bond.
At least I shall have the honor of
Putting you
finishing
out
you.
of my misery. It's one of the better things out of Moonraker.
Man, Kubrick sure loves his tracking shots, doesn't he?
Yep.
So, yeah, those three are pretty much fucked.
Yeah.
Yeah, well.
Where's Kirk Douglas's character?
Well,
Uh,
this is prison, so I'm pretty sure he doesn't belong here.
Wait, hold on. But I thought that he was also getting executed along them.
No. They are. Remember, Jova, the what they agreed upon was picking 3 men, 1 from each trench, and
Wow.
execute them.
Wow, so it wasn't even their decision, really. They were getting killed for a decision Kirk Douglas's character made. Not anything.
No, not it wasn't. Well, remember, Kirk was against the execution. What are you
Oh, I
talking
get
about?
that, I get that. I'm not saying that against him. I'm just saying it just shows how messed up Michael. He was the one who made the call, and yet they're getting executed for it. I'm not saying, Michael, that that's a mark against him. Like you said, he was against it. It's just wow. So I guess that means he'll have to live with guilt that he shouldn't even have. Suicide. Oh, goody. Final rights.
Well, shit.
Ooh.
It really, it really boggles my mind when critics of Kubrick accused him of not making movies about humans, making movies about machines, and I really
I'm
think
guessing that they don't
Kubrick.
remember this one.
No, it's not even. I don't even have to bring this one specifically. I really think he's great at portraying real people, but in a way that really feels very realistic. In the sense that the characters are never overplayed. They feel very natural because they're just talk normally, and there's never any pantomimes or stuff like that you like a lot of filmmakers tend to do for the sake.
Isn't Dr. Strangelove kind of an exception?
Well, that's just as a comedy.
Yeah,
So
it's
it's not
an
really.
intentional comedy. This one is intentionally serious.
Wouldn't that criticism apply more to people like Tarsem or something?
Exactly. Thank you.
When was that even a criticism of Kubrick?
Well,
then
a
again-
lot of people who don't like Kubrick accuse his characters of being cold and very like, for example, let's take for example Clockwork Orange, for example. Clockwork Orange is one of the primary targets of those critics, and honestly, I think Clockwork Orange does a great job in portraying the evil in mankind. The whole movie is about a big characteristic of men in general. Like I just don't get this criticism, honestly. I think his characters are really, really well portrayed and very grounded and realistic. Well, he snapped.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, there you go.
Wham!
Jesus.
I guess staring death in the face will make you do things you never thought you were capable of.
Yeah. Wow, with a single punch.
Apparently he
guy
was
must be-
sick.
That guy must have a fist of a hammer.
Well, apparently the guy he punched out was sick already.
Yeah, there's that. Yeah.
Good
Maybe
old
he had
trench life.
Or
Oh
maybe
boy,
he
he'll
had
still
a
be alive in.
physical-
Don't
Hey
worry, though, he'll
guys,
still be alive in the morning.
I love there's some dark humor right there. I love what the doctor said. Don't worry, he'll still be alive in the morning. Oh, thank God.
Yeah, we wouldn't want him to die on us now, would we?
Or maybe that guy only had a fist of the North Star.
Dwebs.
Corner.
Yeah, corner.
Yeah, I know.
You cheap suit. Yeah, you made your bed, now sleep in it.
Yep.
Sure.
Well, there's always a first time for everything.
Yeah, you like taking charge? Well, go on out.
I love how patronizing to him Kurt Douglas is being.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's a great way of incorporating humor without having to go into full comedic tone. That's great
Yeah.
writing right there.
you have
Absolutely.
you hold a sword and then you swing it down when it's time to fire.
Hey, look at it like this. At least we're not back in the Dark Ages when we had to use a guillotine. Really?
You're to be executed.
And now a ball.
Of course.
Hey guys! 3 of our men are going to be killed tomorrow. Let's dance.
Well, that kind of was the thing. While the soldiers were killing each other, the higher class was celebrating the fuck out of it.
Even worse was when they
Hey,
actually
look,
held
Mister. Hey, look, it's Mr. Spawn of Satan right there.
What was even worse was when they actually sometimes held balls specifically to celebrate executions.
Hey, Jova, headcanon. This guy that guy right there, this Mr. Scarface guy, as Dwebs nicknamed him. He's actually Dahlia Hawthorne's father.
Or her
That's
ancestor.
that's my okay. Let me go with ancestor. There you go. That's my headcanon. I'm sticking to it.
Yeah, that could work. It sure could work. You know, actually, the popular fan theory is that Dahlia Hawthorne's father is actually DG. Damon Gant. Yes, we wouldn't want your outfit to terrify the rich aristocrats in there.
Well, it's Kirk Douglas, Jova. He will probably terrorize them with his butt chin.
Wonder when Michael Douglas was born, actually.
I wasn't. I'll check.
Now I'll do it.
Someone do it.
Yeah, I'll do it. 1944.
You go. I mean, this look at Kurt. He sounds like he's about to just go nuts and just go on a killing spree. Starting with this guy.
Sure.
Yeah,
Jesus
sure.
This guy must love playing Imperial Guard in Warhammer 40k.
What I'm trying to say, General, is that General Moreau is a fucking evil piece of shit.
You don't say.
Was there ever a film Kubrick wrote on his own? Has any have any other co-writers?
AI.
Actually,
No,
no, it was
never-
called
no,
Spielberg.
Well,
that
you
was
know
written
what
by
I
Steven
mean.
Spielberg.
Okay.
He did come up with the original concepts and storyboards, but it never actually got around to starting writing because he died literally a week after Eyes Wide Shut came out.
That's sad.
I think it was like a couple of months before, actually.
Oh, wasn't it? Well, whatever. He died right after Eyes Wide Shut. He didn't have time to start work on it suddenly.
From what I understand, the script was mainly kept intact. Yes, including that infamous ending, but yes, Spielberg
Well,
did
here
have a
it
bit of a
says
hand in
that
it.
Clockwork Orange, well, the screenplay was all completely.
Well,
by,
yeah, there you go, Clockwork Orange. Even though it was based on the book, Kubrick, if I'm not mistaken, wrote the entire thing himself.
Makes sense.
Also very Lyndon.
Oh yeah.
So,
General,
What do you
are
have
you
to
ready?
say on this?
So what exactly is this miracle piece of evidence we've got?
The order of the artillery to shoot on their own troops. So.
The problem is that at this point they're not going to go back on it because you know how these guys are.
Well, crap.
Should have acted a bit earlier.
I hear that nice rooster signaling in the day of your demise.
Good morning, men. You're going to die today.
Oh god, yeah, they still used bayonets on the home front, those idiots.
It was a simpler time, Joe.
What if could you imagine what if like someone poked a bayonet in someone's ass?
Well, funny thing is that bayonets take a pretty long time to reload, and they were using that against machine guns.
Still more effective than gun blades.
Yes, sadly.
I don't care if they actually existed. It's still a stupid idea for a weapon. Sorry.
Yeah, I mean,
Yes,
seriously.
wartime where the best beards and mustaches were around.
Like, seriously, though, the way that Leon's gunblade works in Kingdom Hearts, that's how you would expect a gunblade to work. It can be used as a blade, and then you pull the trigger to shoot magical attacks.
It's still impractical as fuck. Especially the grip.
Miracle of miracles, 13 was the one who actually made the gunblade somewhat plausible.
Well, I'll admit, I kind of did like the look of Leon's gunblade, and I'll admit, yes, my first exposure to him was in Kingdom Hearts, so that might influence why I'm kind of okay with it. I mean, it looks
Well,
Bullshit, you break down.
Shoot, even the stoic one.
Well, it's literally mere minutes before that.
he was trying to act all smug, but when the time actually comes, he also reveals his true nature.
Wait, who's panicking now?
The guy you liked for being deadpan.
All right.
Oh, never mind. The deadpan guy is there praying. Never mind.
And the sick guy is still sick, but he's still alive.
He's still alive, fortunately.
Alive to the point where they have to put him on a hospital stretcher just to carry him out to his death.
A lot of people turning up just for an execution.
World War I. Well, actually, that's always been a thing in some countries. Like, France, executions were all the rage during those dark times with the guillotine.
Are they even going to execute the ill guy?
Yeah. Oh, and that, of course, reminds me of the ever-so-famous French Revolution.
Is he laughing or crying?
Crying, Lives.
No, I can't tell. His mouth looks like he's happy.
Well, people tend to look
it's
like that when they
tension,
cry.
Lives.
but yes.
Sometimes it's a reflex condition. Jeez.
What a big baby.
Yeah, can't he just die like an honorable man?
Well, to be fair, if I was in his position, I probably would shit my pants. So
I was joking.
Everyone would, yeah.
I mean, unless someone's downright suicidal, and, well, that really depends on how much you're actually dedicated to it.
Basically everyone on Slash Poll.
I can imagine now. Okay, you, that guy, look directly into the camera as it goes past.
Oh, we mustn't forget this guy. Let's tie him up. Wait, somehow.
Poor bastard.
I mean, I guess in some ways one could consider this putting him out of his misery.
You know,
Well,
I
then
can imagine.
again.
I can imagine it now. The guys taking care of that ill soldier on the left. They'll probably just say something like, "Shall we tie him up, sir?" Oh wait.
There you go. Ask and you shall
They even
receive.
tied him up to the hospital, stretcher and everything.
So
You see, Stanley Kubrik predicted that you would say that, so he intentionally had him tied up specifically.
So 60 years after the fact, he knew that I'd say that.
Yes, Kubrick's awesome like that.
The guy on the far right is probably like, "Oh God, can you shoot me first, please? I want to have to hear this guy's whinging."
Hey,
Wow.
wake up. You're
Oh, you
about
couldn't
to
even let
die.
him die. You couldn't even let him die while he's unconscious. Come on, jeez.
Wow. And now allow me to read out my
that's
killing
one-
speech.
In fact, going back to Kurt Douglas' speech about mercy, one bit of mercy they could show is put them unconscious before. At least then it would be much easier for them. Jeez.
Oh, but remember, Pedro, we gotta make dead examples out of them for
I
What is
cowardice.
know.
that? He has to be honorable and shit, yeah.
You know, it really says something when
Thanks,
even...
Discount Peter Sellers.
You know, it really says something when even Hitler didn't do stuff this stupid.
Well, he did kill a shit ton of Jews, so
Well,
let's
you
not,
know what I
let's
mean.
not.
Not just that,
Yeah.
his men. Well, Jova, no, come on. His
Yeah,
methods
okay,
were
yeah, there's no justifying it.
varied and sometimes they were even more brutal, so no.
True. I guess what I'm saying is, like, well, the fact that, well, from what I recall, he didn't, like, do something like this, but yeah, you're right. I mean, that definitely does not justify all the other stuff he did, and he probably still killed a lot more than these people did. Now, Joseph Stalin, on the other
There you go.
hand, may be another case.
One thing they do is actually blinding. It was actually a thing for execution. That's pretty much the only extent of mercy that these people got.
Think of it like riding a roller coaster and waiting for that one large drop. Only the drop is the end of your life. Wow. Even the people killing them are really sorry about it. Like, literally the only
He
people
don't-
happy
he
about
don't
We're
it.
wanna-
sorry.
Yeah,
It's,
the guy on the far right doesn't even
it's a bit too late for remorse, you moron. You picked him.
The guy on the right doesn't
Yeah.
even want a blindfold, apparently.
Yeah, he was actually quote unquote optional. You could choose actually to stare death in your face.
Just let me sleep this off.
I'll be sleeping for eternity, so can you please at least let me have my eyes shut so I'm partway there?
Now don't nobody miss.
Jeez, too much. There we go.
You know
Again,
what?
in true Kubrick fashion, we even see the shooting itself, and the corpses literally fall. It's the kind of that's the kind of shot that most filmmakers don't do because they're either schemish or they think the audience is too schemish.
Though God help you if you didn't die in that one shot. Otherwise, well, yeah.
Oh, come in, Kuro! Come and celebrate the execution. Come on.
Yay! Yeah, I can imagine one of the dickhead. I can imagine one of the dickhead generals trying to crack a joke or something like this. Excuse me, but I think something is wrong with your hair. Is there, sir? Yes. Would you care for some dye?
By the way, I like a big. I'd like to give a big round of applause for Kirk Douglas's acting because, like, I love that. Like, just through his subtle facial expressions, he does a great job in expressing his whole indignation towards the whole thing.
Yeah.
Like in the overall way he talks, it's very good, but it's never overstated. It does just enough.
So maybe that Doctor Who episode of the War Games wasn't quite so. Was actually quite accurate with world time in World War One. Even with the big twist.
In the meantime, yeah, General Brulard is trying to investigate shit to make sure General Nero didn't do anything like crap.
You know, like firing on your own soldiers.
Could you be any more evil? Jesus Christ.
He only missing an eye patch at this point.
Just twirl that mustache you've got.
The sad part is that despite how fucking a piece of shit he is, it still feels believable, exactly like Jova said, because to be the sad part is that there were generals of this sort back in these days, sadly.
Yeah, I gotta say, Kubrick made a good choice in retrospect, doing it based off of World War One. Because, like, well, if this were like World War Two or heck, even the Cold War, the way they're portraying these characters, well, okay, I mean, assuming that it would be done in a similar stance. This would kind of border on over-exaggerating stuff because, let's be honest, after World War II, there was a lot better sense of honor. Heck, even bedside manner was becoming an actual
or
thing.
just common sense, Jova.
Yeah.
Whereas here, though, with World War One, wars were pretty stupid, as were the people in them, but World War One is a pinnacle example, because this was at the point where they were trying to still keep the old ways, trying to salvage it, saying, oh no, our old ways can surely work, we'll never have to change. And
that stupid kind of mentality that we want to live in this world and we don't want to evolve with times.
Mm-hmm.
Jesus.
I'm half expecting him to throw
Oh
a
boy,
chair. And
Kirk is gonna explode, guys.
Wow, it's really saying something that he's giving the speech to this guy as opposed to the more obviously evil one. Yeah, sentiments. It's not like we're supposed to have them. Wait. Unless you're just setting him up to be the fall guy. That is odd, actually.
All right, and here's the ending. Kirk at this point has actually gone so desperate. At this point, he doesn't even he lost all hope in humanity, kind of. However, fortunately, Kubrick decided to end the movie on a more positive note.
This should be interesting.
A little message of hope to say that fortunately we've evolved beyond these times.
So,
And even in these times, it wasn't all bad.
Huh. So it's an anti-war film that doesn't exactly go to one side.
So guess what, guys?
Dickhead's gonna be executed?
Hold on. So yeah, they're gonna get some diversion for the soldiers.
I can't imagine.
Ooh, from the Germans.
Ooh.
So yeah, they captured this woman, and they're gonna force her to sing for them.
I'm sure she's happy about this.
Oh my god, Pearl really is immortal.
That guy there, just the one with the beard, looks like the master.
Boy, I'm starting to see why Pearl has all her mental issues now, eh, Dwibs?
Yeah. Wait.
Oh, gee, thank you.
Wait. A Pearl. Actually, no, Joe. Remember, the other Pearl was actually good at singing.
Oh, come on. I actually think this actress sings really well, as you're about to see.
I meant this character.
Well, to be fair,
okay.
Dwebs, that's just that guy ridiculing her. It's not the actual truth, I'm guessing. And besides, to be fair, who knows? Maybe Pearl could have just learned how to sing later at some point.
All right, now pay attention, because this is actually a really good scene. It's probably the most famous scene in the entire movie.
Maybe if you'd be quiet, I could actually sing for you. Yeah, I actually wish I had subtitles up, but I understand what she was singing.
Although we've technically been in France all this time, and we can
It
understand.
wouldn't, trust me, it's intentional that we don't have subtitles because of what Kubrick's going for here.
There we go, thanks to you. And now the humming army orchestra.
I think they're sympathizing.
Yes. Turns out there are still good people in this world.
Huh, so Kubrick made an anti-war film that doesn't exactly say everything about war is bad. It's literally just the figureheads who kind of ruin it for the lower downs. Huh. Yeah, that definitely explains why this is a lot better than most anti-war propaganda. It doesn't try to paint just one side as the cartoonish bad guy.
And keep in mind, it's just what Joe said. We have never actually seen one single German soldier.
What I also love about this, that like Dwip said, we can understand what she's singing, but at the same time, like this is just one of those cases where emotion is, of course, an universal language.
Kubrick, if you zoom in any closer on his eye, you'll poke it.
All right, Kirk, that's your reward. At least you had that to give you a little more hope for the future.
Yeah.
You've earned it. You've earned it.
Well, gee.
And now the cycle
The end.
continues.
Released through
United
Through-
Arts.
All right,
and now
guys.
we end on a 1980s credits-ish thing.
Sure, why not?
Okay, that's it. I'll close up.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so
Go
this
ahead.
is,
Final thoughts. Why not? Since you're taking it, go ahead.
so yeah, this is actually a really good movie. I mean, it's like I said, yeah, it's trying to pick a favorite Kubrick film was a bit tricky because there's some because I think every Kubrick film has its high points, but it also has its but it's like anything. Even if you strive to perfection, you're never gonna get it.
There's no such thing as a perfect movie. We know that.
Yeah. I think maybe this film could have been a bit longer.
I thought it was long enough.
I mean, 88 minutes is fine, but I don't know. I think there's
Well, the story tries to tell waves. It's fine.
The story is
Yeah.
simple, so it's not like we need any more. I think, at least.
Yeah, I mean, maybe this is like a movie about like both sides, like more about the war, maybe. But this is kind of focusing on just one country and well, how their country dealt with the usual war business.
I'm just wishing that maybe there could have been like a few other scenes to fill in the gaps because we never did see the that final bit where they decided, right, you're all gonna die, guilty,
Wait.
bang gavel, go off.
But we did. That was at the end of the trial.
Yeah, but I thought they said I think the last bit they said was they're going to deliberate.
Oh, that. Well,
Dude,
Well,
that
the-
was just PR talk. Pretty much they gave them like their final verdict and everything there.
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, no, I just felt there were a couple of scenes that maybe they could have added in to make it more rounded. But other than that, yeah, I really like this film. It's I still prefer the likes of Full Metal Jacket over this one because, well, yeah, I think Full
Lee
Metal
Harvey.
Jacket.
Lee Harvey.
Yeah, Harley Ermy. And also, even during the war bits, which I think were a little bit of a step down from the Harley Ermy segments, I think we're still a little bit. Well, Kubrick had the advantage of better technology by that point. But yeah, I like this one.
Awesome.
Okay.
I obviously being the Kubrick maniac here, freaking love this movie. It's so well written, so well directed. It's just it's another Kubrick masterpiece in my eyes. Like it portrays everything in such a frank and honest way, but at the same time like Jova said, it takes care not to be not to go overboard and shit. Like Jova said, picking World War I was a clever choice. And yeah, I really enjoyed how the characters were, and specifically Kirk Douglas. I love his I love how he's pretty much the only voice of reason throughout the entire movie, and he has that awesome sarcastic humor with that guy. That was really cool. And just the overall frank and honest way it deals with its themes. It's so good, so good. Yeah, it's just a awesome anti-war movie. Personally, I prefer, in terms of anti-war movies, I still prefer Grave of the Fireflies, but this is definitely a close second for me. Go ahead, Teo. What do you think?
Yeah, I actually really liked it. I mean, again, it was the first time for me to watch it, and yeah, it's really good. I mean, it's simple yet very effective in what it tries to tell, and it's a movie that's not afraid to show what it wants to show, even for the themes that it treats. And it narrates a piece of history that obviously, like all major events, needs to be remembered. People need to not forget this stuff happened. And so, yeah, the actors are all performed greatly. Again, like Kirk Douglas, like you mentioned. And again, it is like I don't agree with what we've said about the supposed extra scenes, because honestly, the movie, it's fine as it is. But I can see why people with standards on other films would be a bit alienated on this movie. But honestly, it's not a big of a deal to me. But yeah, overall, I really liked it, much like all other Kubrick movies. And honestly, compared to the others, on which one, also thanks to its length, is actually more easier to watch, even for people who may not digest the usual Kubrick movies because one reason or the other. So yeah, definitely recommended.
One of the cool things about Kubrick was how his catalog was so diverse that even if you don't even if you don't like something like Clockwork Orange because you don't like violence or something like that, you can watch something like this movie, which is the very advocate for non-violence of sorts.
Yeah, true.
Go ahead, Jova.
Yeah, I gotta say, as an anti-war propaganda, what really helps this work is it focuses strictly on telling its point and doesn't try to exaggerate things just to try and make and prove the quote-unquote point. Because despite being an anti-war propaganda film, it does show that really the majority of war, the majority of war sucked, but the people involved really, war did have its purposes here and there. Not gonna say that they're all good, but it did have some notable purposes, like, for one thing, ending the freaking war. And it did show that, really, the main people screwing things up are the ones up in charge and stuff. And I think, while this is technically anti-war propaganda, I see it more as, a history lesson and warning of what happens when we let war practically govern our society the way they did during World War I. Like saying, okay, have your war, but make sure not to really just use it for anything but the good of society. Otherwise you get, this. The length is just right. Again, I like how really the villain is definitely the one on the, again, quote-unquote good guy side, because World War I and all, we don't even really see any German soldiers and whatnot. We just see the carnage and whatnot. You said that this was Stanley Kubrick's first notable film?
Yeah, well, he did made a couple before, like The Killing and Killer's Kiss, but this was the movie that really put him in the spotlight. This was the one that really made him a household name.
Yeah,
Because this movie was a gigantic smash hit at the box office at the time. It was a critical darling. Everybody basically a 10 out of 10, 5 stars out of 5, you know, that kind of stuff.
I can see why. There's one thing this film excels at, it's balance between the powers that be. It balances off the sense of dread with the sense of hope. It also balances off who gets the blame and whatnot. Like, for all intents and purposes, you could say this is technically Kirk's character's fault, all just because he told them to pull out and they're getting punished for his actions. But when you really know, no, really, that's not how it should go. If anything, he saved more lives. Even despite the 3 of them getting killed. I mean, a lot of soldiers probably got saved by that action.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it definitely is nice. And yes, the little bits of dark humor here also do help to entertain.
Yeah. Not just that, like the overall political ramifications of everything. It's very good food for thought. It's
For all
like
intents
typical
and purposes,
Kubrick. Like, go ahead. Sorry.
For all intents and purposes, this could actually be considered a daily slice of life World War I film for the French side when you think about it. Like,
Yeah.
seriously, daily life, trenches, oh, you messed up, okay, court-martial, trial, okay, now back to the trenches. Like, there's really no big play at work here. It's not about actually solving the war itself. It's literally a daily slice of life stuff to show, again, possibly the most idiotic war and how many lives it consumed. And how so, too.
So, once again, Stanley Kubrick creating another great thought-provoking movie.
Absolutely. It's a timeless one, too.
Oh, yeah, definitely. This movie aged beautifully, I think. The dialogue is still very believable. The direction is, of course, fantastic. It's Kubrick, the master of direction. But yeah, that's you're done, Jova?
Yeah.
Okay, so that was Paths of Glory, everybody. Hope you enjoyed it as much as we did. Tune in for whatever Kubrick movie we do next.
See ya.
See ya.